Good morning and welcome to the Engineering Science S3 course. First off, thanks for making this one of your choices. It's going to be a really exciting course and really good fun for the whole year. Whether we're working at home or we're in the school, it's going to be great. So there are three different engineering science classes in S3, and two of those are taught by Mrs. Watson, and one of them will be my class. In the short term, definitely for June, you'll see stuff coming from myself and Mrs. Watson, regardless of which teacher is commenting, marking, or setting the work. Everybody should be completing the work. That would be the expectation that we've got for everyone. But any questions you can ask either of us, and we'll both be able to help you as best we can, because we've both taught engineering science before multiple times. So this is the introduction, and hopefully this will get us started in our learning. Hopefully you've seen in the news about SpaceX's launch for the getting astronauts up to the ISS, and how exciting, and that's a great example of something that's a really popular engineering science thing that's happening right now in the world and getting a lot of press and making people lots and lots of crazy money. So the very first thing that we want you to do, and there is another video that explains on the Google Classroom how to access the Microsoft Team. What I'd like you to do is just pause this presentation, take just a couple minutes to think about, for engineering from primary school S1 and S2, what have you learned so far? And by putting it on the team, we'll be able to have a look and see, to identify what prior learning you've got. If you can't think of anything, that's okay. You might go back and add stuff after you've seen the rest of this presentation and think, oh, actually, I do know about that, which again is absolutely fine. But it just helps me and Mrs. Watson to see what do you know, so then we can definitely build on that and make it so that it's not going to be going over stuff that you're like, I know this already. So do that just now. Pause me. Hopefully you just paused and then you've unpaused. So if you've written all that stuff, the whole point of this introduction is we're going to hopefully share the expectations of the engineering science course. I'm expecting that we've been able to go over and get the course plan so that you know exactly what the plan is for the whole year. Be able to know what we're expecting for behaviour within the engineering science course, which is in line with the whole school expectations as well. And then lastly, that you'll be able to list the general topics we're covering. With it being the change of timetable, I'm sure you're going to have people asking you, what is the engineering science all about? What are you doing? So being able to answer people at home or friends to say this is what it's all about, that will be really helpful. Now, the course plan. The video on the Google Classroom shows you how to get from the Google Classroom to the Microsoft Team. On the Microsoft Team, there's a slide that's course plan right at the start. You can't really miss it. Again, there's a link on the Teams page, and this is where I've went way more in more detail for the difference between Google Classroom and Teams already in that other video. So my expectation here is that on the Microsoft Team that you can click on that bit that says go to the course plan, and you can have a look and you can see what we've got mapped out for the plan for the year. That's obviously a copy. You can access it, you can see, you can reference back, you can see what we are doing. That will also be shared with your parents or guardians, so they can see exactly what learning is going on when and throughout the year. There is on it some points where we're saying we're doing tests and things like that as well, so it gives you fair warning and fair notice for when those are going to be. Now, naturally, especially given the recent situation, this is subject to change. Depending on how the classes are getting on, individual classes might work a wee bit faster or a wee bit slower. We might decide to go in a slightly different direction through the year. So if some stuff changes, I don't want you saying, but you said at the start, so it is very much subject to change. But if you haven't already, just again, pause this presentation, have a read through that to get an idea of the different bits that we're doing throughout the year. If you've got any questions, usually we would just be doing hands up and saying, right, put your hand up, any questions? since you're not in the class at the moment, use the wall on Teams when we've got it split up into the individual classes, so you can post up any questions there to say, what is this or what is that about? And again, we're more than happy to answer any of those questions. So for the behaviour expectations at Newbattle High School, as I'm sure you know, and we as the teachers know, we expect high standards of student behaviour from all of our students. We are clear that the purpose of school is to learn and achieve, and we want you all to feel safe and happy while doing so. So, whilst we are in the setup of the distance learning, definitely for June, we will be posting up work at the start of every single week. That's when it will be up. It will be up on the Monday. Then we will give you the week to work through that. It's up to you. There's advice from the school that's come out that says that you need to think about how and when you manage your time. It's almost like making your own timetable for when do you want to do the engineering and science work, or when do you want to do the maths or the English. That's up to you. Our expectation is that you are managing that work. We will be giving you a fair amount, not crazy amount of work to do, but we would expect you to be doing the tasks that we're asking you to do. To support you all week, myself and Mrs. Watson will be on Teams. You can send us a message, you can ask for help. We're more than happy to help you at any point. If at any stage the instructions don't make sense, please do not just send a comment saying, I don't understand, because then we'll have to ask, what part do you not understand? So try and think about how you're asking for help. If it's a specific thing, if it's the actual theory behind it that doesn't make sense, or you're not sure how to present your work for this task, then make sure those questions are clear. And remember, unlike in a class where you get tone and you get the feeling of how someone's saying something, obviously when we're using the computer, sometimes it can sound as if someone's being quite blunt or to the point. So if we're sending you a message, it might just be, we've just got the message, we're doing something else, and we're replying to you as quick as we can. So don't think that we're being rude or dismissive if it's just a quick short response that you get. But as well, if you can think about the messages that you're sending and maybe just give it another read through to make sure that's a sensible message, that's not going to confuse anybody or seem that I'm being rude or mean to anybody. And then the last bit, for the moment, it's all digital. Once we get into school, we will be having jotters and you will be able to look after that, but you're responsible to manage your work and make sure it's presented in the way that we'll show you how we want it every single time. It's up to you to make sure it's always there, that it's not delayed, that it's not lost. And that's just a simple bit expectation for us every single time you're doing our work. The one other thing that is part of the course, we do have calculations, we do have sums that we'll be doing. Any standard calculator, it doesn't have to be a fancy one, just one you would use in maths, is absolutely perfect. In the short term, definitely for S3, if you've got a mobile phone, you can just download a calculator app and use that. During June, you can just use the internet, because you're obviously on the internet already and Google has an inbuilt calculator. But when we're in school, it does help if you either have a phone that's fully charged that you can just use as a calculator, or an actual calculator is the best that you can just have sat on your desk for when we're doing calculations. And pen or pencil for writing down your answers helps greatly. Now, the different topics we'll be covering, which you've looked at the course plan now, so you've probably seen a bit more detail about them. I'm not going to go into masses of detail just now. But the topics are civil engineering, structural engineering, electrical engineering, electronic engineering, mechanical engineering, chemical engineering, and environmental engineering. And this is all because people say, oh, I'm an engineer. There are lots of types of engineer. If you just go to Google and type in engineering university, the number of courses that come up is a lot more than that. But for the 4th year National 5 course, this is the 7 different ones that SQA say you need to know. So that's why we cover these ones specifically. It's a wide range of different engineering disciplines. They're quite interesting. There's quite a mix there. So this is an ideal chance for you to say, if there's one there that you're like, hold on a minute, what is that? Take it, copy paste it, chuck it into Google, have a look, what's that person. This week we'll be looking at more, what do the different types of engineers do, then we'll be looking at projects that they would be involved in, impacts of those projects, and then the last thing we're going to do this month is some calculations. So we will be building on your knowledge. If you're sitting thinking, I don't know any of them, do not panic. We will be going through each one for you. So, to sum up this introduction, and the very first thing for the first lesson of engineering science for this year, what we'd like you to do in your team's class notebook in your section, I want you to list the behaviour expectations. What have we said we're expecting from you? I'd also like you to try and list the 7 different types of engineer. Now, I know you're at home, you've got the answers are right there. But what we need is you to remember these, because when we do the end of term tests, you're not going to have the answers in front of you. You're going to have to remember this stuff. So if you can, go to the team's notebook, try and write down these answers without looking back at the presentation. If you're struggling, if you can't remember them, then look back at the presentation. What people usually do is colour code it to be like the first one, red ones I managed to get all by myself, but these 2 blue ones I had forgotten. And that's a good check for you as well, so that you remember next time we look over this, oh, those blue ones I forgot last time, I need to do them again and get them stuck in my head. So try and do it in your book so that we've got everything. Once you've done that final task, it's just a case for us to recap and make sure that we've covered everything in this lesson. So, the big overarching goal was you to know the expectations that we have of you for the engineering science course. The success criteria, the way we can check has this introduction to the course worked, would be, have we got the course plan? Now the discussion bit is if you've asked any questions, that will be back and forward with us. The list of behaviour expectations, with you putting that into your part in the notebook, that's you showing us that, yep, you've read them, you understand them, you get that, that's what we're expecting, so it's a good atmosphere in our classes. And then the last one is the general topics we are covering, which is those different types of engineer, and that's where we're trying to remember those names and get them stuck in your head. So I want you to think, have you hit that? Have you not? If there's anything in there that you're like, I don't know that one of those success criteria, I'd suggest you make use of this PowerPoint. You go back, you have a wee look, spend a wee bit of time on it, so then you can get back to this slide and be like, yeah, I'm feeling quite confident. Moving on, we'll do a mix of presentations. Sometimes there might not be videos, there might not be videos of us using the camera like this. It might just be a voiceover. So don't think this is what it's going to be like every single time. But obviously, it's nice for you guys to get to see your teachers as well. Thank you so much for taking the time to work through this tasks today. Hopefully it's been quite interesting. And in the next lesson, like I said, we'll be looking at what do these 7 different types of engineer actually do. Thanks. See you later.